Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupine avatara varisthaya Ramakrishna-ya te namaha. Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnan Jagadgurum Padapadme tayo shritva pranamami muhurmuhu. Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swami Tapaharine. So today we are celebrating the Janma Tithi of Swami Niranjanananda, who was one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna was extolled by Swami Vivekananda as the Yugavatara, the incarnation of this age. And we know, as Bhagavan says in the Bhagavad Gita, that whenever dharma declines and adharma prevails, I incarnate myself for the protection of dharma, for the re-establishment of dharma, for the protection of the holy and for the destruction of the evil. So this dharma sthapana is the main purpose of God's incarnation. And how does he do that? Dharma is always there. Dharma is defined as dharayati iti dharmaha. Dharma is that which upholds our life and leads us towards the fulfillment of the supreme goal of human life. And dharma has been stated in the Vedas, in the Upanishads, in all our scriptures. But unless we practically see the demonstration in front of our eyes, it is very difficult for ordinary human beings to understand what dharma is. So God Himself incarnates in every age and upholds that dharma and teaches us how to realize the truth and be one with God. So when God incarnates as a human being to teach dharma to the world, along with Him so many God-realized souls, or those devotees of God who always stay with God. There is a class of devotees who have realized God, but they do not merge in God. They remain with God, and whenever God incarnates, they come along with Him to fulfill His task on the earth. Such devotees or God-realized souls are called Ishvara Kotis. They are part and parcel of God. By birth, they are perfect. From their very childhood, they display all the divine qualities. And such a soul was Swami Niranjanananda. Sri Ramakrishna called 5 of his monastic disciples as Ishvara Kotis: Swami Vivekananda, Swami Brahmananda, Swami Yogananda, Swami Premananda, and Swami Niranjanananda. And one was a householder devotee, Purna Chandra Ghosh. So these 6 disciples were identified by Sri Ramakrishna as Ishvara Koti and Nitya Siddha, who are ever perfect. And they come to earth only for the sake of the fulfillment of God's purpose. So the pre-monastic name of Swami Niranjanananda was Nitya Niranjan Ghosh. He was born in 1862 in a suburb of Calcutta called Rajarhat, Bishnupur. And at present, there is a center of Ramakrishna mission at the house where Swami Niranjanananda was born. His father's name was Ambika Charan Ghosh, who was a very pious man. And when Swami Niranjanananda completed his primary school, he was sent to his uncle's house in proper Kolkata. His uncle's name was Dr. Pyari Chand Mitra. But this uncle was a spiritualist. Spiritualist means he had few of his friends used to practice spiritualism, that is invocation of ghosts and the practice of some psychic powers and so on. So Niranjanananda also was young, and they took him in their group as a medium for invoking ghosts. And first time this group came to Sri Ramakrishna with the intention of mesmerizing Sri Ramakrishna. And they directly, openly asked Sri Ramakrishna that we would like to mesmerize you. Will you please come? So Sri Ramakrishna agreed. And they started waving their hands, including Niranjan, around Sri Ramakrishna. And after trying for more than an hour, Pyari Chand said, "Sir, you are a great soul with a strong mind. We are incapable of mesmerizing you." So Sri Ramakrishna was seeing the fun. And privately he said to Niranjan, "You please come to me alone." So Niranjan, when he went back to his home, he felt a special attraction for Sri Ramakrishna. And this was felt by most of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. They felt as if Sri Ramakrishna was their own, more than their own family members or friends or relatives or anybody else. And this strong attraction brought Niranjan. Within 2 or 3 days, Niranjan came back to Sri Ramakrishna. That time so many devotees were sitting in Sri Ramakrishna's room. So Niranjan sat in one corner, and Sri Ramakrishna was talking about God and how to realize God and all these things. Then after all devotees left, Sri Ramakrishna came to Niranjan and said, "My boy, if you allow your mind to dwell on ghosts, you will become a ghost yourself. If you fix your mind on God, your life will be filled with God. Now, which of these you want to choose?" So, of course, Niranjan said, I want to realize God. So, Sri Ramakrishna slowly started molding Sri Niranjan. And one day, after a few days, when Niranjan came, suddenly Sri Ramakrishna took hold of him and told him, "My boy Niranjan, when will you realize God? Days are passing away, and if you do not realize God, your whole life will be meaningless." So, hearing this, Niranjan was stunned. How is that this person is so much anxious about my realizing God? At that time, Niranjan couldn't understand the intricacies of God realization or what Sri Ramakrishna actually meant. But slowly, as he started coming to Sri Ramakrishna started training him. And one day, Sri Ramakrishna caught hold of his tongue and wrote a mantram on his tongue. And it had such an effect that Niranjan was unable to stop it. Continuously, day and night, that mantram was going on. And when he closed his eyes, he could see that mantram in golden letters all the time. So 3 days and 3 nights it went on. And he couldn't sleep. Because his mind, even when he went to sleep, his mind is continuously repeating the mantram. He's unable to stop it. So he understood that this is the power of Sri Ramakrishna only, and only he can stop it. So Niranjan ran to Dakshineshwar and told Sri Ramakrishna what had happened. So Sri Ramakrishna laughed and said, yes, this is called ajapa japam. When japam goes on effortlessly and you feel the presence of God all the time. And again, with the touch of Sri Ramakrishna, it came to a stop. But it was to teach Niranjan the power of spiritual practice. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, that there are few souls who, they are like the plants which bear fruit first and then flowers will come. So first they will see God, they will realize God, and then they will do all the spiritual practice which are necessary to get established in God. But Niranjan had one difficulty or one, it is not, we cannot say it is a fault, but a characteristic that sometimes he was short-tempered. Suddenly he would flare in anger if he sees something wrong. So one day what happened, Niranjan was coming to Sri Ramakrishna through boat from the Ganga, and few of the people who were sitting in the boat, they started criticizing Sri Ramakrishna and telling all kinds of bad things. So Niranjan couldn't bear it. He said, unless you stop, I will drown all of you. He started shaking the boat so vigorously that all of them were afraid, and they begged pardon. And when Niranjan came to Sri Ramakrishna and told this, what had happened, Sri Ramakrishna rebuked him that you cannot control your anger. What deadly sin you were going to commit? Because a few people said something wrong, you were going to drown the whole other people also, and even including the boatmen. That is very wrong. You should control your anger. But the same similar incident we find in the life of Swami Yogananda. When Yoganandaji was coming in a boat and some people started criticizing Sri Ramakrishna, Yoganandaji kept silent. And when he came and reported it to Sri Ramakrishna, the master said that when you hear somebody speaking ill of your guru, you should protest. And if it is not possible for you to protest, you just get out of that place. But you should not simply sit and hear people talking ill of your guru. So by this incident, we find that Sri Ramakrishna's teaching or training of his disciples differed according to the characteristic or mental makeup of each disciple. It varied from person to person. And Niranjan wanted, his mother was alone, and he accepted a job to look after his mother. And the job was a few miles from, not few miles, 100 miles, around 100 miles from Calcutta, with an indigo planter at Murshidabad. But Sri Ramakrishna was very much pained to hear this. He felt that Niranjan was so pure, that doing such a worldly job could contaminate him. And he was very much, Sri Ramakrishna felt very bad. But when Niranjan came after few days and told Sri Ramakrishna that I have taken up this job only to look after my mother, then Sri Ramakrishna said, then it is okay, then that will not contaminate you. But if you had accepted this job for your own sake, then I wouldn't have looked at your face. So this we have to learn. This is one of an important teaching of Sri Ramakrishna, that our life is not just for the acquisition of wealth, artha, and for the enjoyment of worldly pleasures, kama. Artha and kama are secondary, and they have to be acquired by the practice of dharma for the sake of others or for the sake of service to the children of God. Even for householders, if they earn money only for their own enjoyment, then that money will drown them. It will lead only to bondage and suffering. But when they do that for the sake of, if they think that their family, their parents, all are children of God, and I am earning money for the service of children of God, then that money won't contaminate them. Their mind will be pure and they will be able to do their spiritual practice properly. And another aspect of Niranjananda's life was that he was, as Sri Ramakrishna said, that he was perfectly guileless, straightforward. Whatever was in his mind, he could speak it openly. There was nothing that he could hide, and he kept himself perfectly truthful. And by truthful, it means that his thought, word, and his actions were aligned. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Mon Mukh e Ek. His mind and his speech are aligned. And Sri Ramakrishna said, one cannot be guileless without a great deal of spiritual discipline in previous births. Hypocritical and calculating mind can never attain God. And Niranjan is perfectly pure. He is without anjan or impurity. And such a great soul that when Niranjan was away from him at his work, one day Sri Ramakrishna was taking the names of God and suddenly he said, Alak Niranjan. And as soon as he said the name Niranjan, his face changed. Tears came out from his eyes and he spoke, Oh Niranjan, when will you come back to me? And maybe these words reached Niranjan, and Niranjan resigned from his job and he came back to Sri Ramakrishna. And as soon as he came to Sri Ramakrishna is telling to him, you were living in an indigo house of such a place. On this particular day, you rode on your deputy's horse. You stood in such a place with a bow and arrow. So Niranjan realized that whatever he was doing, everything Sri Ramakrishna knew. Sri Ramakrishna was keeping an eye on him even when he was working at such a distance. So Niranjan realized that his master was all-knowing. He was none other than God himself. And he's saying to Sri Ramakrishna, Sir, all these days I couldn't realize you. And he fell at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna. And in September 1885, Sri Ramakrishna was moved to Shampukur, Calcutta for cancer treatment. At this time, Swami Niranjanananda left his home and he became Sri Ramakrishna's gatekeeper. Sri Ramakrishna was lying inside. He used to stay inside, and doctors had advised that he should not speak much, he should not mix with all kinds of people. So Niranjan was always there outside the room to prevent anybody from entering. And there are few incidents where one funny incident is that that actress Binodini had come along with devotee Kalipada, dressed as an English gentleman. And Kalipada introduced him that this Englishman wants to see Sri Ramakrishna, you please allow. And Niranjan had allowed him. But later on he came to know about his mistake. And another time, Girish Chandra Ghosh's brother Atul wanted to see Sri Ramakrishna, but Niranjan stopped him, did not allow him to go. But somehow Sri Ramakrishna came to know, and on another day, Sri Ramakrishna told Niranjan himself, you please go and call Atul, I want to talk to him. So in this way, Sri Ramakrishna also knew about his devotees. And as the devotees or disciples were taking care of Sri Ramakrishna also was eagerly looking after them. And one incident is that when in Kashipur, from Shampukur, they had moved Sri Ramakrishna in December 1885 to Kashipur. So here, one day, Niranjan and few others went to, in the Sandhya period, in the evening, went to take the juice of date palm tree. And as they were proceeding, Sri Ramakrishna was in his room and he couldn't get up also. He was very ill at that time. But suddenly, Holy Mother was in another room. She saw that Sri Ramakrishna is running very fast, like an arrow. He went. And after few minutes or few seconds, he again came back. So this was astonishing to Holy Mother. She came and asked Sri Ramakrishna, how is it that you could go so fast and you have come back? So Sri Ramakrishna says, oh, you saw me. So I had gone because I saw that under that date palm tree, one vigorous snake was there, a cobra. And these boys didn't know that, and if they go there, it would have bitten them. So I went and I told that snake to get out of this place, not to come back here. So this is how we find Sri Ramakrishna was protecting them. And Sri Ramakrishna said that as this disease has come, disease means his throat cancer, it is to differentiate between his disciples or devotees who were of the inner circle and who were of the outer circle. And Sri Ramakrishna himself says that those who have left everything and they are staying here looking after me all the time, they belong to my inner circle. And those who are just coming once in a while and asking me, how are you, sir? So they belong to outer circle. So these inner circle devotees were very close to Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna passed away on 16th August 1886. And the disciples kept his relics, part of his relics, with them, and another part of the relics were taken and to Kankurgachi Yogodhyan. And direct disciples were staying at Baranagar monastery. That was the first Math. And there they started worshipping Sri Ramakrishna. So, Niranjanananda was always helping in the worship conducted by our Shashi Maharaj, Swami Ramakrishna-Nanda. Both of them were steadfast in the worship. And Niranjanananda used to go and purchase whatever was necessary for the worship of Sri Ramakrishna. And help in all kinds of chores, for he was very strong, and any physical labor he was never afraid. The next feature in the life of Swami Niranjanananda was his devotion to Holy Mother, Sri Sarada Devi. Niranjanananda, after the passing away of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother was staying at Kamarpukur. And there a person called Harish, who was a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna earlier, he used to come to, but later on he was out of his mind and he started troubling Holy Mother. When this news came to Kolkata, Swami Sharadananda and Niranjanananda both went to Kamarpukur. And Niranjanananda was so furious that just by seeing him, Harish ran from that place. It is said that he went to Vrindavan and later on he recovered. And after this establishment of monastery, Niranjanananda went on a pilgrimage from 1889 to 1892, when by that time monastery had been shifted to Alam Bazar. So Niranjanananda also traveled throughout India. We usually know about the wandering days of Swami Vivekananda. Similarly, Swami Niranjanananda too had traveled throughout India, and he even had gone to Sri Lanka and preached wherever possible. He preached the life and message of Sri Ramakrishna. And when Swamiji came back from America in 1897, Swami Niranjanananda was there to receive him at Colombo on 15th January 1897 and travelled with Swamiji in many parts of North India. And when he came to Almora in 1898 with Swamiji, after Swamiji left, Swami Niranjanananda stayed there to practice spiritual disciplines. And one of the initiated disciples of Swamiji, Sudhir, who later became Swami Niranjanananda, gave him sannyasa at Almora and gave the name Swami Shuddhananda. Then Swami Niranjanananda came to Varanasi, and there too he inspired a group of devotees who were inspired by the teachings of Swami Vivekananda, and this was the nucleus that later took the form of Ramakrishna Mission Home of Service, and many of them later took sannyasa from Swami Vivekananda himself. And Niranjanananda then came to Kankhal, and here too, along with spiritual practice, he used to inspire youngsters to lead the life of renunciation. And one of the youngsters was Kedarnath, who later became Swami Achalananda. And Kedarnath was so much devoted to Niranjanananda that he served Swami Niranjanananda in various ways. And it was Achalananda who noted down the main teachings of Swami Niranjanananda. Whatever he used to say, Swami Achalananda used to note down, and we find few of them. Like he is writing, Swami Niranjanananda believed that Sri Ramakrishna was the infinite God incarnated in human form, and he who took refuge in him would not have to worry in this life. He believed one should sincerely serve the Master, thinking of him as a living, conscious being, as one's own. This is the supreme worship. Then, after Swamiji's, in 1899, Swamiji again went to West, and he came back in December 1900. So Niranjanananda again had few good time with Swamiji. And according to instruction of Swamiji, he went with Swamiji to Bodh Gaya along with the Japanese Mr. Okakura. And according to Swamiji's instruction, Niranjananandji went with Okakura to different places like Agra, Gwalior, Ajanta, Ellora, Chittor, Udaipur, Delhi, and all these places. Then finally, towards the end, we know that Swami Vivekananda left his mortal body, in 1902. After that, Swami Niranjanananda too felt that intense longing for tapasya or staying alone, and he took the permission of Holy Mother. It is said that his last meeting with Holy Mother, Sri Sarada Devi, was very touching. He came to Holy Mother and told her that today you should cook for me and feed me. And Holy Mother actually did that. She fed him with her own hands. And while taking leave, Niranjanananda fell at her feet and burst into tears and silently went away. Because he had a premonition that this was his last meeting. And he went to Haridwar for intense tapasya, and he was staying alone on the banks of the Ganga. Even an attendant monk went to serve him, but he sent him back, saying, "Don't you want me to die in peace?" And the attendant had to reluctantly come back. And of course, due to this severe tapasya austerities, Niranjananji got cholera and he passed away in Samadhi on 9th May 1904. So Sri Ramakrishna is saying regarding few of his disciples, what did he say as a prediction? Do you know what these youngsters are like? They are like certain plants that grow fruit first and then flowers. These devotees, first of all, have the vision of God. Next, they hear about His glories and attributes, and at last they are united with Him. Look at Niranjan. He always keeps his accounts clear. He will be able to go whenever he hears the call. Just as Swamiji said during his last days, that I am now able to hear the voice of Sri Ramakrishna. He is calling me to come back and I want to unite with him. Similar call was heard by Swami Niranjanananda, and of course he was also a part and parcel of God. As Sri Ramakrishna said, that he is a partial incarnation of Sri Ramachandra. And that is the reason the first vision of Swami Niranjanananda which Sri Ramakrishna got was of a boy with a bow and arrow, which was the symbol of Sri Ramachandra. And what do we learn from the life of these direct disciples? we find that Sri Ramakrishna had a special approach to each of his disciples. Every one of the disciple was of a special characteristic, and Sri Ramakrishna approached each of them according to their attitude. For example, Swamiji's attitude was that of a friend or a servant of God. Swami Brahmanandaji's attitude was that of a child of God. And Niranjanananda also was intent on being a servant of God. He used to feel of serving Sri Ramakrishna in whatever way possible. In this way, Sri Ramakrishna taught that as we approach God, similarly God will approach us. And He is always looking after us. And as Sri Ramakrishna had called after his tapasya, all devotees, he used to climb on the terrace of the Kuti at Dakshineshwar and call, all devotees, you come, I have come here to give you what I have realized. So similarly, even now that call is going on, and all of us are hearing that call from within us, from our heart. And it is that call that has brought us to Sri Ramakrishna. Now that faith has to be deepened, as Sri Ramakrishna said, it begins with Shraddha, deep faith. Then with that Shraddha, we get initiated into our spiritual practice and Ishta Mantra we get from the Guru Parampara, Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna himself is said to be our Guru in our order. And as we do that sadhana with Nishtha, first is Shraddha and then Nishtha, we slowly gain devotion, pure devotion, bhakti. As Sri Ramakrishna said, ahaituki bhakti, pure devotion which doesn't seek anything from God, but seek God alone. We do not want anything from God, we want God alone. Because God is the whole, the Purna, who is the fulfillment of our life. So with this Shraddha, Nishtha, Bhakti, and then Bhava, we develop a deep relationship with God and realize that God is not somebody other. He is our own. He is the self of our self. Our Atman is a part and parcel of the Paramatman. We are already one with God. We only have to realize it by looking within. So first of all, this building of this Bhava Bhakti, pure devotion and pure relationship with God, with the feeling of that God belongs to me and I belong to God. And finally, we reach the state that, as Sri Ramakrishna said, Naham Naham Tuhu Tuhu. Not I, but Thou, O Lord. And that is complete surrender. As even Bhagavan says in the Gita, the final chapter, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Ishyami Mashucha. So it is not based on our spiritual practice. It is based on the divine grace, the grace of God, that we attain God. So for that, what is necessary is complete surrender, Sharanagati. And this Sharanagati is what we find in the life of direct disciples and devotees of Sri Ramakrishna. They completely surrendered their ego at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna. And they attained that pure devotion by which they become the recipient of divine grace and their lives became fulfilled. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhrita Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Paramesha Medyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namami.